Hello everyone, I hope you're well. Today, that was like a song. Today I'm gonna do a chatty Friday reads, if I can speak. Also, first up, do you like my new filming background? This is what I'm gonna film on from now on. So this bookshelf was always in my living room. This one was in my bedroom, but it was taking up too much space. So I just put it in my living room and I think it looks really nice together. I've read all the books behind me, so if you see a book and you're like, oh, what's that about or whatever, then you can always comment down below and I will let you know. I will do a little pan of the bookshelf. Da-dun, da-dun, da-da. Up here, elephant collection. I collect little like elephants from secondhand shops. Also, all these books, like almost all the books, are just from secondhand shops. Da-dun, da-da. I've got Anne Boleyn here, Anne Boleyn Tudor books. Got my Tower of London ornament that I actually got, I think it was like 3 years ago now. I went up to the Tower of London on the 19th of May because Anne Boleyn was beheaded on the 19th of May at the Tower of London. So I got a little ornament that I keep there and my little Tudor stuff, and up here I keep my classics. The only order everything in is author, that's it. I've just kept all the authors together. So I have like my Agatha Christie, Tracy Chevalier, Jodie Picoult, Alice Walker, like it's just in author order, but it's not in kind of height, as you can probably tell. I mean, that is some higgledy-piggledy books up here, but I like to keep authors together. I just have a thing with it. I don't like to not know how many books I've read from a certain author because I buy my books from charity shops. I don't like look at what's the next release from that author, or let's look at their list of books and choose what I want to read next. I just see what's in the charity shop, so I like to keep track of my books. But these are all my read books that I own. A lot of the books that I used to, when I like first got into reading, I just got them out of the library because I didn't want to own loads of books, but now I've really changed. I like having my own little library, like Belle from Beauty and the Beast, and my own little nice library that I've created myself. So on to the Friday reads. Enough chatting about bookshelves. I am reading two books. I'm reading Madame Bovary. I'm reading this aloud on the channel. I might stop doing that. Oh my god, I went into Dalek. I think it's Dalek, kind of like I went into Dalek. It was like a posh pronunciation of Dalek. I don't know if I'm going to carry on reading this on the channel. I don't know. I feel like I'm butchering the pronunciation of everything. I feel like I'm not really reading it and it's not flowing properly when I read it. I just don't feel like my videos are very good on this. Tell me what you think. I might just stop reading aloud on the channel that book. And I'm reading for my book club this month, Bram Stoker Dracula. A lot of people are joining in, so thank you so much to people who are joining in. I have tabbed so many moments that I really liked, but it's just getting a little bit slow now. I'm on page 157 and I would say Dracula is full of loads of mini stories. So first up, you have this guy called Jonathan who goes to stay with someone called Count Dracula in Transylvania. And Count Dracula wants to buy a house in London and Jonathan is a solicitor. So he goes to Count Dracula's castle and all this weird stuff happens at the castle and you're really getting into it. You're like, oh my god, what's going on with Dracula and Jonathan? And then that stops. And then it goes to England, and in England is a woman called Mina who is Jonathan, the solicitor's fiance, and she has made friends with this woman called Lucy, and she goes on holiday to visit Lucy and her mother, and then Lucy gets bitten. She's got some bite marks on her. What's going on there? And then it goes into this doctor who is someone who wanted to marry Lucy, but Lucy like turned him down. So then it goes into this doctor and he has this weird patient that's like really uncontrollable and he can't work out what's going on with the patient, and the doctor works in a psychiatric hospital. And then you have the doctor's friend. Like, there's so many people. Van Helsing is this doctor's friend who is going to help Lucy in some way because Lucy's really like pale and weak and she's got these weird like dots on her neck, which obviously are bites, but they don't know what these dots are. And then I've got to the bit where a wolf has escaped from a zoo, and so the whole book also is told in journal form. So it's told in letters, journals and newspaper articles. So the only like way you get told the story is someone else telling you what's already happened. So they're writing in their journal saying like, earlier today something shocking happened, and then they'll tell you the shocking thing that happened. And so it's just loads of people recounting their different sides of stuff, but different stuff. So they're not recounting the same events as each other. It's not like they're interesting, oh, you know, different people have different versions of what the truth is on the same situation. They are telling different situations, so it's moving the story along. I am enjoying it. I'm just finding it quite slow. It's not a book that you can really like pick up and read on your lunch break. Like, I thought I'd be able to like just on, you know, your lunch break, read a chapter and that'll be it, because you have to kind of keep track of every different person's stories. And now Jonathan is all of a sudden back in England, but he's ill, he's in a hospital and no one really knows what's happened to Jonathan, and Mina's just married him at the hospital, and you're just like, what? But I was loving when Jonathan was with Count Dracula. I was loving that whole creepy vibe. I was so in for it. And now it's just kind of gone back to other people's story. I am finding it interesting. I want a bit more Jonathan Dracula, which I feel like that's kind of past in the book. We're not going to get that back. I want a bit more of Mina. It's very much gone into Lucy's story. Oh God, and Lucy has a fiance. Like, how many characters are we going to add to this? So many different characters and their points of view, but some of them, their points of view, like you're not that interested in, to be honest with you. But I am enjoying it so far. I really like when people are writing letters to each other. So Mina and Lucy have written quite a few letters to each other, and I really like those moments within it. I am enjoying it. It's just, it's more of a project. It's something that I feel like you've got to really put your brain to and concentrate on. I am enjoying Madame Bovary, as I spoke about. I didn't really speak about what the book's about. I just said I don't know if I'm reading it properly. This is a French book, and mine is translated by Margaret Mulden. And it's about a girl called Emma Bovary, who she has been raised in this place by nuns. She now lives with her dad. Her mum has passed away. I think she's supposed to be like late teens, or is she? Or like, I don't know what she's supposed to be, because it doesn't say her age, but maybe late teens. She has been reading romance novels. The nuns, somehow she's got hold of romance novels, and she has this idolised version of what love should be. So she thinks love should be someone sweeping you off your feet, and every day's an adventure, and like roses every day, and everything's great. So she marries this man called Charles Bovary, and she becomes Emma Bovary. And Charles is just very normal. He's not very passionate. He's very kind of sensible and normal, and she just thinks, God, is this what love is? I'm bored. Like, they've just moved in together. She's just moved into Charles's house. That's the bit I'm in. I am on page 43. She's just moved into Charles's house. It's gone into Charles's life because he was married to another woman, and that woman died. So it goes into that situation. That goes into Emma's childhood. Like, they've told so much in such a small space of time. But now Emma is just like, oh God, is this for the rest of my life? I just stand at the window and go, bye husband. Oh, and just wait to like have children. What? Like, where's the passion, where's the romance? And it's just not there. I interpret this book, I think, differently than how people who are reading it along with me interpret it. So I have got a lot of comments saying the book is really sexist, and people think that the author wrote the book to say women shouldn't read. So the problem is that Emma from a young age read books, and because she read books she got this version of love that wasn't realistic, and so this is the danger with allowing women to choose what they want to read, is that they will read stuff that will kind of rot their brain and reality. And I don't know if it is a sexist thing or if he's just trying to take down the whole of romance literature and basically say it's all lies, it's all selling you a fantasy that isn't real. So I think people who say it is sexist, I think it does have elements of that. I think he is kind of saying women shouldn't be allowed, they shouldn't be trusted to pick what they want to read because they're too fragile maybe, and it will change their reality, so they should be trusted enough. So there is definitely sexist elements within it. But I also think that when did this come out? So like Gustave Flaubert was born himself in 1821, so it's a very different world from what we think. And Madame Bovary was in serial form first in 1856. So think of the world in 1856, it was like very different from now. So I don't think there are some sexist elements, but I think it's more Gustave trying to take down romance books of the time and saying that they're selling women an image that isn't real, whereas I think a lot of women just read like romance novels and still today read romance as escapism. Like, they don't actually think it's real. They don't actually think things like Catherine Cookson, you know, that someone's gonna ride up on their horse and take you away and lay you down in a gypsy caravan and everything's beautiful. Like, they're not really, I do like Catherine Cookson books. Like, I'm not slagging off Catherine Cookson. She kind of does historical fiction, what she did. She's dead now. But I really love Catherine Cookson TV adaptations. And they're very kind of like fluffy, so her books will always, I don't know why I've gone on to talk about like Catherine Cookson now, just quickly on Catherine Cookson because I do like her. I really want to read more of her books now. It's like reminded me that I really like her books. But she will have some kind of historical fiction, so you'll have a woman as the main character and something terrible will happen in her life, and then she'll be put into like destitute and poverty, and then this man will kind of come along and help her in some way, and she'll get out of that situation at the end. It's all happy and she's with a man and she's in love and it's all fine. And so it's kind of saying those kind of books just aren't realistic about that, but then it's also not realistic that every day when you're living someone it's going to be heaven on earth, because it's not. I live with someone how I said that so smoothly, because it's not. I live with my boyfriend, we're very much in love, but we have different interests, we have different hobbies. You're two completely different human beings trying to live together. You have your own families, you have your own like different stuff that's going on. So, you know, not every day is like, oh, it's just incredible. Every day he just buys me 50 million roses and I just walk out the room on rose petal feet, and it's just all obviously not, because you have reality within that as well. So yeah, like I don't really know what Gustav's trying to say. Is he trying to say women shouldn't read, or is he trying to take down the romance novel era, or is he trying to say both are bad? Romance is bad and women are too weak to read romance because they think it's reality. Because that's Emma Bovary's problem, is that she thought it was going to be what she'd read in romance novels and it's not. So it's reality kind of hitting into her now. Sorry about that, my camera just like shut off. I'm going to carry on talking. I think women read those books because it's escapism from your own life, and you don't have to have a terrible life to want to escape your life. It's just kind of like reading a different kind of fantasy. Let me know. Let me know also if you read any Catherine Cookson. My favourite Catherine Cookson TV adaptation is The Glass Version. Such a good story. I actually went out and bought the book, I just haven't read it yet. And that is about a girl who, she's been raised in kind of wealth, and then all of a sudden one day her dad says, your mum is not your mum. Your mum couldn't have children, and so I got some prostitute to have a child, and I took that child. So her dad is her real dad, but her mum is a prostitute, and he just kind of casts her out. I think she kind of runs away, and then a stable boy stable man really, who worked at her like stables for her wealthy family, goes on the kind of run with her. And then that is such a good TV adaptation though, because it's really about at the time, because it's historical, how women are treated so badly. So she's very attractive, the girl, she's called Annabella, and men try and attack her, try and like attack her all the time throughout the whole thing, and this man has to try and help her, and she's trying to like fight off herself. And then at the end she rides back to her family's like big house, and she goes back to her mum who isn't her biological mum but has always raised her and loved her. She goes back to live with her mum, but they're in a gypsy caravan, and he like lays her down in the gypsy caravan, and she's like, ah, and the music's like da 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 da. Like, it's such like, it was, that sounded some kind of haunting sound there. It wasn't. It's all like romantic, and she's like and she's laid down, and that's it. Everything's going to be like perfect from then on. I really do like Catherine Cookson though. I just there's something really like great about it, and I love the TV adaptations as well. I really think they were great, and they had a lot of people in the TV adaptations who at the time weren't famous actors, but then went on to be like huge famous Oscar winning actors. So the acting in them is actually really good. I love The Glass Version. Such a good film. If you haven't seen it, it's cheesy but it's great at the same time, and it does have like a bitter element to it as well, because she goes to see her mum who is a prostitute, and it's just so good. Like the whole thing's really good, and it goes into her childhood, like the girl who, not the prostitute's childhood but the girl's childhood. Really did enjoy that. Probably rambling on for way too long now, sorry. Tell me if you also like Catherine Cookson or those like lovely TV adaptations that I love. I don't have any exciting weekend plans to tell you about. We currently rent this flat, me and Dom, and we are looking for our own place to buy. So that's what we're spending our weekends doing, looking for places to buy and viewing places to buy, and that's it. So no exciting weekend plans. I am doing some knitting currently. This is a mystery item though, because I don't know what it's going to become at all. I just like the act of plain knitting. That's it. I'm very boring and bland when it comes to knitting. Just plain knitting rows, that's it. And I think this is probably going to be a scarf. All I make is scarves and cat blankets. That's all I tend to make. So there's that. My creepy elf project has been stalled. I was doing this really creepy knitted elf, but I don't know how to do the rest of it. So I'm going to have to wait till I'm with someone who knows knitting to help me do that. Here is my ball of wool, which I really like. It's kind of got a bit of an ombre effect. It's grey and white and blue and grey, which are really like nice colours together. So it's probably going to be a scarf or some kind of cat blanket, because you know when you're doing a blanket and you think this is just too much, I'll just say it's done and give it to my cat or a small child. That's fine. That's probably what's going to happen to that. Any kind of, I don't know if there's anything else to update you on. I'm probably not going to finish the Booker Prize because I can't be bothered to go out and buy the books, because they're like £14 and some of them that are on the shortlist I'm not interested in. So like Ducks Newburyport, I will probably read that at some point, but I'm not going to try and read it before the Booker Prize is announced, because I don't really want to spend £14 on a book right now. That doesn't interest me. Other books, I'll read the shortlist at some point, but I'm not on like a time deadline to do it. Just kind of saying that. I think that's it, like nothing else. The Testaments, everyone's going mad about Margaret Atwood's The Testaments. I haven't even read The Handmaid's Tale. I know, like I haven't even read that. So I'll have to read The Handmaid's Tale and then The Testaments. I do find it a little bit odd though, how people who are hyping The Testaments also work for the publishers. I never know whether to trust someone, because a lot of people on BookTube, obviously we love books, and a lot of people have gone into careers to do with book publishing. And I can't quite trust someone when they hold up a book and they're like talking about the book and saying you should buy it, it's amazing, but then I know they work for that book's publisher. Like, because I always think you wouldn't slag off your boss. Like if you don't like a book that your publisher that you work for brings out, you're probably not going to say anything about it because you don't want to slag off your boss, which is completely fair enough. But when people are really hyping a book that they've published themselves, like their publishers published, that they work for, I'm always a little bit skeptical on whether to like trust that booktuber or not. I'm not sure. I think if I worked for a book publishers, I probably wouldn't mention any of the books that the publishers I work for publish, because I'd think, oh god, what if people think I'm just hyping this because I work for like the publisher, you know? Tell me about what you think about that, or if you don't really think about that kind of thing. I do. It's just that I have like a nagging little, oh, I'm not quite sure if they're being honest or not, and there's no real way of telling if they are. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna end the video here because I've just been chatting. My camera keeps like shutting off because it's getting so hot in here, because it's supposed to be autumn in the UK, but we've had this real burst of heat in like September now. It's like blue skies, sun out, you could probably get a little bit like sunburn. It's that hot right now. I'm not happy about it because I cannot wait for my little autumn to arrive, and autumn is being pushed back. It's being bullied by the summer right now, so it's overheating my camera. So I'm going to end this video here. I've chatted for way too long probably, so I'm going to end the video here. Tell me what you are reading this weekend and tell me what your weekend plans are, and I will see you again soon for another video.